I've watched the land where three faiths meet tremble again. A land promised and fought over, sung about and wept for. Israel and Palestine, names that echo through every prayer, every headline, every broken dream. And as the smoke rises today, people ask, why does this war never end? To some, it's a story written in politics, of territory, occupation, and power. But to others, it's something far older, a story written in prophecy. A spiritual war that began long before any bullet was fired, when two brothers, Isaac and Ishmael, stood at the heart of a divine promise. They were sons of the same father, Abraham, the man who dared to believe in a single God. But his promise was split in two. Isaac was chosen to carry the covenant, the line through which Israel would be born. Ishmael, blessed yet set apart, would become the father of nations, the heir of people. That ancient divide, carved into human history, has burned for thousands of years, and tonight it burns still. You can walk through Jerusalem and feel it. The walls breathe with centuries of faith and fury. Jews see the land as their eternal inheritance, not just a home, but a sacred trust from God Himself. Palestinians see it as the soil of their ancestors, a birthright passed down through centuries of struggle. Two truths, one land, and a wound that refuses to heal. In 1948, after centuries of exile and persecution, the Jewish people returned, the rebirth of Israel, the fulfillment of prophecies long whispered through the ages. But for Palestinians, that same day became the Nakba, the catastrophe. Hundreds of thousands fled their homes, leaving behind villages that would never rise again. For one people, it was a miracle. For another, a heartbreak that still bleeds through generations. And so, two nations were born in the same breath, one out of redemption, one out of ruin. The world thought time would heal it. But time only sharpened the edges. Wars came. In 1948, in 1967, in 1973, and each one reshaped the map but never the heart. In 6 days, Israel captured Jerusalem, Gaza, the West Bank. Victory is celebrated by some as divine fulfillment, but mourned by others as another layer of loss. The land changed hands, but peace never found a home. Refugee camps turned into cities. Children grew up with memories of a home they'd never seen. And in every generation, someone picks up a stone, a gun, or a prayer, and says, "This land is mine." Today, as rockets fly and cities tremble again, it feels as though the prophecy has stepped out of Scripture and into the news. Some say this was foretold, that Jerusalem would become a cup of trembling for all nations. Others see only the cruelty of politics, of power, of leaders who trade peace for pride. But what if both are true? What if the war we see in the streets is only the shadow of a greater war, a spiritual one, between what God has promised and what man has defied? The Bible speaks of dry bones rising, of a nation reborn in a single day. For many, that was Israel in 1948. Yet the same scriptures speak of conflict that will surround Jerusalem, of nations gathering against it, and of a final battle between light and darkness. Standing here, watching history repeat itself, it's hard not to wonder, are we already living in those days? Jerusalem, a city no bigger than a scar, has become the heart of the world's pain. Muslims revere it for the Al-Aqsa Mosque, Jews for the Temple Mount, Christians for the path where Christ carried his cross. It's more than a city, it's a symbol. And symbols don't die. They divide, they inspire, they burn. The prophets wrote that in the end, all nations would turn their eyes toward this land. That the conflict here would not just test armies, but faith itself. Every time the world looks at Gaza, at Jerusalem, at the tears of children on both sides, it's as if creation itself is asking, what have we done with the promise? Is this the war of prophecy, or the failure of humanity? Some believe Israel's survival is proof of divine destiny. Others see occupation, loss, and injustice. Between these two truths lies the most dangerous battlefield of all, the human heart. And maybe that's where this war will finally end, not in treaties or tanks, but in a quiet moment when people on both sides choose compassion over revenge. When they realize that the God of Abraham, of Isaac and Ishmael, never wanted his children to kill each other over his name. Until then, the land will remain divided, and the prophecy unfulfilled. So I ask you, as you watch the flames rise once more, what do you see? A political war or a spiritual one? Tell me in the comments below. And if you want to keep uncovering the ancient prophecies behind our modern world, don't forget to subscribe. Because some stories are too old to die and too powerful to ignore.